Now it's Muslim. There are several suburbs of Bethlehem. As Beit Sahur, so the shepherd's field, as Beit Jala, where Christians are in majority, but altogether it's minority. The mayor of Bethlehem, he is still nowadays Christian. Different reasons. So it was bought here because it is a holy place, sacred place connected with an oak of Abraham. Here was no monastery. Even in the beginning there was no church. And this house on your left hand is the first building built here in Hebron. When we come back, it's important to notice that small white house, there is a toilet. If someone would like, it's a new one. This is the old building of this monastery, and pilgrims mostly they were coming here in May and June after Feast of the Holy Trinity. There was a tradition that on Holy Trinity Day there is a liturgy in Holy Sepulchre, Holy Patriarch. On the next day, the Patriarch of Jerusalem is coming to the Russian Cathedral, Troitsky Sabor in Jerusalem. There is a celebration, and on the second day, on the third day of the feast, all pilgrims are going here, of course by feet. So there were hundreds of people, hundreds of pilgrims coming here for liturgy that was celebrated by near the Oak of Abraham. And in the beginning of the 20th century, a big cathedral was built, and we're going there now.
Where did they go the second day?
The second day, the Russian cathedral in Jerusalem
Okay.
is named Holy Trinity Cathedral.
Okay.
And it's really a very big and beautiful building. So the second day of the feast, Duchov Din, the day of the Holy Spirit, was celebrated there with the Patriarch of Jerusalem also. And on the third day, they were going to Hebron. So it is not exactly what we have as an oak in Russia and in America. So it's a different type, it's a Palestinian oak. But this, I don't know how is it in English.
Acorn.
So is it?
Acorns.
But acorns are the same. So it's an oak. But it grows very slowly, much slower than a Russian oak. That is the same as in America. And but the opinion of Russian authorities and of the state and of the church was rather negative. They told it's невыгодно.
Not profitable.
It's not profitable because here is no monastery, here is no Christian population here. It will cause problems with local Muslim population, so there is no need. And the Father Leonid started to build this place after the birth of наследник.
Successor.
An heir of the Russian throne, Tsarevich Alexei, because in the royal family there were several daughters who were already adults and there were no sons. That's why when Prince Alexei was born, it was a great holiday for all Russia of the time. And the head of the Russian mission here decided that it's a very proper place to build a church here, because here Abraham and Sarah were promised to have a boy. The same happened in the Russian royal family. So it's quite a good time to build a church here. But of course, Muslims did not permit. And he started to build this church as a house for bishops who are coming here as guests. But soon there was an apse built here and domes, and the Muslims thought that it's a strange house for a bishop. And finally they prohibited to bring here materials for the building and the workers. So you can see that this iconostasis is built from Hebron stone. It's not marble, it's Hebron stone.
Wow.
But when it's well обработан хорошо,
Worked on.
when it's
Polished.
well polished, yes, it seems as a marble. But and Muslims prohibited to bring more stones here. That's why there was no choice but to bring marble from Italy. So the iconostasis on the left and on the right, they were made from Italian marble, so that was the best at the time. But and this church is dedicated, is named in honor of Святые Праведцы,
Holy Forefathers.
Holy Forefathers of Jesus and the founders of Old Testamentary Church. Of course, it will be more logical to consecrate this church in honor of the Holy Trinity, but there was already the Cathedral of Russian Ecclesiastical Mission named the Holy Trinity, and it was decided, especially by the Patriarchate of Jerusalem, that it's not logical in one mission to have two big cathedrals. That's why it's probably the only church, the only building church in the Russian church consecrated in the name of Holy Forefathers. So it's very interesting. As you see, there was no time before the revolution to make frescoes or icons, because this church was finished before the World War I, but it was not consecrated. It was consecrated only in the 1920s by the Patriarch of Jerusalem and by two Russian bishops who were living here as immigrants, and one of them, Metropolitan Anastasios, became the second head of the Russian church outside of Russia. But before that, he was the head of Russian Ecclesiastical Mission in Jerusalem for several years. So till our days, there are no frescoes, there is no painting, but probably it will be, and of course it will be more or less connected with the story of this place, of the forefathers of Abraham, the Holy Trinity, and of an Old Testament. So it is the church. And now there is a kind of a small monastic community. So in Russian Palestine, as it was named in the 19th century, there were several women's monasteries, and there were only two, and there are only two small monasteries for men. One small skit near Jerusalem that belongs to Russian church outside of Russia. And this one, it is big, but here are just several monks. It belongs to the Russian mission of the Moscow Patriarchate. Looked like the tomb of Jesus and probably the tomb of Abraham and Sarah several hundred years before that. So as for this tower, you can see here a tower. It was the first building built in this Russian territory, and I should say that it was not just a watchtower. It was built for other reasons also, and it was built by the head of the Russian Ecclesiastical Mission, Archimandrite Antonin Kapustin, a wonderful and very interesting man. He did a lot. He was a great lover of archaeology and a good specialist in archaeology as Father Ilya in our group. So he was a good historian, connected with Byzantine presence and Bible and so on. That's why he really wanted to be here on the Middle East. It's interesting that he was staying here for 30 years, and already it was a tradition that someone is a head of a Russian mission only for a couple of years, and that he sent to Russia as a bishop. And Archimandrite Antonin probably was the only Archimandrite who never wanted to be a bishop. He wanted to stay in Jerusalem. But several times the Russian Synod tried to expel him from the Holy Land because he was too active. There is a dog.
That's dog
Sorry.
number 4 that I
And Archimandrite Antonin wrote to one of his friends, can you imagine where they want to send me, these bishops? If they would like to send me to Siberia, I'll be not against. We need missionaries in Siberia. But they want to send me much further. You don't believe, even further than Kamchatka, they want to send me to America. So for Russians of the time, America was not after Europe, but it was after Siberia. So it was really very far. So Father Antonin, he built this tower as an astronomic observatory. Because he was a great specialist in archaeology, but he liked very much astronomy, and he have had an observatory in Gorninsky Monastery in Jerusalem and here in Hebron, because the city is situated on the hills, so it is even higher than Jerusalem. It's snowy in winter, and this part was not built by all these private houses as now, so it was calm, and it was very good to observe the stars at night. So scientific interests of Russian clergy of the 19th century were really very wide and deep. Let's move a bit further to the tombs. By this way, probably it's even easier. It was already like this during the New Testamental times, so of course it's later than the time of Abraham, but earlier than the New Testament. And what is interesting here, that when I was reading Gospel as a boy, and I read that there was a possessed man who was living in the tombs, I always thought, how it's possible to live in a tomb? Как можно в гробе жить? Because in Russia, a tomb, it's a box, or it's a wooden box that is put in the land. So it's the manner of похороны, burial in Russia, in Europe. In the Middle East, it's not like this, because there is no wood, there is no land, there is no ground, because when you were walking over this small road, you saw that it is stone, with some with a very small level of ground, and some колючки, some the simplest plants who are there. That's why, but there are a lot of caves. So rich people, at least, they have had special caves as burial places, and there is one of them. You can see that the level of the ground is выровнен, so it's
Low. Leveled, yeah, leveled.
There are 3 walls around, and inside there are several rooms. So there is one room, прихожая такая, the entrance room, and after there are several places where body is put. And all this is closed by such a stone. And this stone is well preserved here for more than 2,000 years.
Which is quite a rarity.
Yes, it's very rare because it was very easy to put it out. That's why when Arabs, when Muslims,
Some competition.
they don't really have it. It is exactly what you wanted. On cemeteries, it happens sometimes.
Better than with the bones running around.
That's true, it is a burial.
So it was very easy to take the stone off. That's why when Muslims, Arabs and others, you had to use this camera, burial camera, once more. It was possible to take the stone away and to use and to return it back. That's why it is on this place.
I just wanted to add, and I'm sure that majority of the group will be confused when we go to see the tomb of Jesus, and no matter how much we'll explain. And where is the cave? There is no cave. There is no burial chamber. There is none of that left. we're going to see the tomb of Nicodemus inside the church, just to give an example, but it's still a very rudimentary thing. This is much better. So when you're thinking about the tomb of Christ, when you want to see how, or imagine how more or less tomb of Christ looked like, you have to look at the burial site like this, because in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre it would be impossible, absolutely impossible, no matter how good your imagination is, to try to recreate in your mind how the tomb of Christ was, because here we see all the components of what is described in the Gospel. We see the stone that murderer women were wearing, what is called to, yes, yeah, it's possible to sit, Father Alexander saying, on it just like angel was sitting. So as far as moving it away, we see that it's really a cave. In fact, you probably can look. In fact, you probably can look in and see it. It's quite dark, but if your eyes were adjusted, or if you make a picture with the camera, with the flash, you'll see that on the back wall there is like a shelf built where the body actually will be laid. And in some more classical tomb, in this one there is just one big room, but in classical Jewish tombs there would be in two rooms. And the first room would be used for depository of the bones, because people would be placed in the little carved cavities, and when they will decompose, they will be taken out, their bones would be washed, and they would be placed in the atrium room under the floor. And the phrase from the Psalms that his bones were added to the bones of their fathers talks exactly about the burial practice. It's not only the fact that men have died, but that means that his bones were, whitewashed and placed in the cavity in the ground where the bones of his forefathers were, because those were family tombs. So if you want to see how the tomb of Christ looked like, look at this. It's just absolutely perfect example.
There is one more element that is very important, and that is present in his tomb. When you enter the Holy Sepulchre Church, first of all, people venerate the stone that is named Stone of Chrismation. That is just between Golgotha and the tomb of Jesus.
Not chrismation, probably anointment.
Anointment, помазание, камень помазания, anointment. There is a place where the body of Jesus and other people, probably also, were prepared for burial, because people were put not into a coffin but into a плащаница, into a shroud. Yes, that's why it was necessary to wash the body and to put in the shroud. And here we have this. We have these stones of anointment. There are two of them. So they are here, and the body was put into one of them. It was washed, and after it was put in another one.
Or you can lay down so we can take pictures, so people who will just jump off.
A bit after, later. That's why. So the bodies were prepared on such stones, and here we can see the stones. But in the Holy Sepulchre Church, Father Ilya told that there is no cave, there is no stone like this, because Romans, when they constructed their temple in the 2nd century, they leveled all the ground. So there was a place like this, with nothing. And after Golgotha,
Was cut quite severely.
it is saved, but it was very much cut.
And I have a diagram sort of that in different colors shows. I have a diagram that I'm going to distribute to you. It's sort of like a cross section of how it looked like when it was, and how it may, and how it looks now, right?
Okay, so here is a burial place, biblical burial place. So now we'll return to the place where we left the bus.
Очень интересное место и важное место. Я прошу вас запомнить то, что вы здесь видели, потому что то, что вы здесь видели, это то, что, наверное, вы бы ожидали увидеть в храме Воскресения. В храме Воскресения вы не увидите пещеры, в храме Воскресения вы не увидите фактически ничего, кроме иконных образов и часовен внутри самого храма. Потому что все это было сперва римлянами, а потом византийцами устроено для богослужения. А здесь вы видите прекрасный пример, как описано в Евангелии, древнееврейского захоронения. Камеры похоронные с нишами, на которых лежали тела. Но в некоторых были углубления, куда эти тела клали, непосредственно, чтобы потом вытащить, помыть кости и положить в небольшом притворчике в полу, в дырке вместе с костями предков, потому что все захоронения или большинство захоронений были семейного характера. Использовать, может быть, отойдем чуть-чуть, чтобы люди могли пройти. Были семейного плана. Вот когда мы слышим, что Христос воскрес, и женщины мироносцы идут к гробу, они видят, кто же камень намотали. Вот эта вот печать каменная, да, которая затворялась, она чрезвычайно редка. Я ее впервые в жизни вижу. То есть таких найти практически невозможно. Это очень-очень что-то редкое. Потом как печатью действительно закрывался этот гроб, но он мог быть открыт. Почему с ужасом говорят, что когда Господь говорит, где вы Лазаря положили? И было сказано, что дверь гроба отворили, вот это и есть та самая гробная дверь. Почему не хотели прилагать усилия, а ее закрывали, чтобы запаха не было никакого, да? Ну, вот. И по течение какого-то времени, когда умирал кто-то другой, из одной из ниш тело брали, пелены разматывали, обмывали от остатков плоти и клали в маленьком притворчике под пол буквально. И знаменитая фраза из псалмов, когда его кости приложились к костям его отцов, не только говорит о том, что человек умер, а она говорит, что непосредственно он был похоронен, да, то есть это все что-то было понятно. По еврейской традиции тело приготавливалось к погребению, обычно до заката, что до сих пор сохранилось в иудаизме и в исламе, и намазывалось различными благовониями. С одной стороны, чтобы смягчить запах тления, с другой стороны, чтобы иногда помочь телу как можно быстрее разложиться, еще и физически переспали, но уже больше римская практика. И были специальные камни помазания. Мы тоже увидим в храме гроба Господний камень помазания. Но он как бы непонятный. А вот эти вот камни помазания, вот они перед вами, два. Это то, куда клали тела, готовили к погребению и тут же несли и клали в гроб. То есть, когда мы будем в Иерусалиме, ничего этого вы не увидите. Вы увидите, я говорю, какая бы у вас хорошая фантазия, не просто вы не читали, представить себе практически невозможно. А здесь мы видим фактически классический вариант еврейского погребения. Никто не говорит, что гробница Христа выглядела именно так. Мы видим несколько вариантов, возможно. Но это потрясающий пример, потому что мы видим и камень помазания, и печать, которой закрывался этот гроб. И сам гроб внутри, даже если вы посмотрите, в темноте не разглядеть, но на камере сколько можно. Вот, пожалуйста, я вам сейчас покажу фотографию, которую я сделал со вспышечкой. Если она не очень ровная, но на задней стене вы видите нишу высеченную, да? Вы видите высеченную нишу, да? И вот в эту высеченную нишу, собственно, и клалось тело, как полочка такая небольшая, да? И вот говорят, куда вы положили его, да? Куда положили, что вот была эта ниша, полка, где были тела, а иногда были норы вырытые, куда эти тела просто засовывали. Да? Вот, так что это вот пример такого еврейского погребения.
Are the goats scaring the dog? Are they? Yeah. It should be the other way around. They're scaring me. Yeah. There was one with very big horns. Yeah. Because you don't know what to eat next. They didn't eat anything. You gotta have to
You hear fishes.
about to jump up here.
Чап-чап.
That's a nicer creature. Там.
Drop it, I'll kill you. You dropped it.
Where did these things always get for free?
Say it again. No, $1.
$1. $1. $1.
One Canadian dollar. Wait till I get a picture of you, George. Look, Abraham. Look.
Right. And right chapter 18.
А где из него? А, вот эти, вот они, вот дубочки.
I'm sorry for that. I didn't realize.
She was looking me up. I didn't either.
Okay, it's on.
Okay, so we are now by the oak of Abraham. It is one of the oaks of this big forest of oaks that used to be here in ancient times. And I suppose that when archaeologist Antonin Kapustin was going to find and to buy the oak of Abraham, he bought just the oldest and the largest oak that was standing here. And of course it became one of the most important places here. And a lot of Russian pilgrims started to come here. And archaeologist Antonin wrote that several decades of intensive Russian pilgrimage was harmed this oak much more than centuries of Islamic rule. Because of course when pilgrims were coming here from villages in Siberia, in Altai, I don't know where. And of course when they came back, they had to bring something to people living in their villages. So they took everything possible and they took parts of this oak, and of course it harmed it very badly. And that it was covered by such a by stone. Yes, as you see here, probably it was not bad in gardens of Paris, but here for the oak in Palestine, it really harmed it. There was not enough water, so the oak died in 1996 finally. So.
Couldn't they take like a young tree from it?
Of course there are. Of course there are, because there are two small trees nearby. There are two larger trees on the right side. They were small trees in the middle of 19th century. And archaeologist Antonin Kapustin named them Sarah and Isaac. So if it was Abraham, they were Sarah and Isaac. So they are alive, but few nevertheless. And this old tree will be conserved and probably put inside the church or up here. So during the next visit it will be different. But for us it's important that it is concerned to be a place of meeting of Abraham with the Lord, and we'll read from Genesis about it now.
The Perkimenon first, maybe. Let us attend. Peace be to all the Perkimenon in the first tone. Thy mercy shall pursue me, O Lord, all the days of my life. Thy mercy shall pursue me, O Lord, all the days of my life. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. In a place of green pasture there hath he made me to dwell. Thy mercy shall pursue me, O Lord, all the days of my life. Thy mercy shall pursue me, O Lord, all the days of my life. Wisdom, the reading from Genesis. Let us attend. And the Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre. And as he sat at the door of his tent in the heat of the day, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men stood in front of him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the earth and said, My Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree while I fetch a morsel of bread, that you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant. And they said, Do as you have said. And Abraham hastened into the tent to Sarah and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the servant who hastened to prepare it. Then he took curds and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree while they ate. And they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" And he said, "She is in the tent." The Lord said, "I will surely return to you in the spring, and Sarah thy wife shall have a son." And Sarah was listening at the tent door behind him. Now Sarah and Abraham were old, advanced in age, and had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I have grown old and my husband is old, shall I have pleasure?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Shall I indeed bear a child now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord?' At the appointed time I will return to you in the spring, and Sarah shall have a son." But Sarah denied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. He said, "No, but you did laugh." Then the men set out from there.
Книги Бытия, чтение. Явился ему Господь у Дубравы Мамре, когда он сидел при входе в шатер свой во время зноя дневного. Он возвел очи свои, взглянул, и вот 3 мужа стоят против него, и, увидев, он побежал навстречу им от входа в шатер свой, поклонился до земли и сказал: «Владыка, если я обрел благоволение пред очами твоими, не пройди мимо раба твоего, и принесут немного воды, и омоют ноги ваши. И отдохните под сим деревом, а я принесу хлеба, и вы подкрепите сердца ваши. Потом пойдите в путь свой, так как вы идете мимо раба вашего». Они сказали: «Сделай так, как говоришь». И поспешил Авраам в шатер к Саре и сказал ей: «Поскорее замеси 3 сата лучшей муки, и сделай пресные хлебы». И побежал Авраам к стаду, и взял теленка нежного и хорошего, и дал отроку, и тот поспешил приготовить его. И взял масло и молока теленка приготовленного, и поставил пред ними, а сам стоял подле них под древом. И они ели, и сказали ему: «Где Сара, жена твоя?» Он отвечал: «Здесь в шатре». И сказал один из них: «Я опять буду у тебя в это же время в следующем году, и будет сын у Сары, жены твоей». А Сара слушала входа в шатер сзади его. Авраам же и Сара были старые, в летах преклонных, обыкновенную женщину у Сары прекратилась. Сара внутренне рассмеялась, сказав: «Мне ли, когда я состарился, иметь сие утешение? И господин мой стар». И сказал Господь Аврааму: «Отчего это она сама в себе рассмеялась, Сара, сказав: неужели я действительно могу родить, когда я состарилась? Если что трудное для Господа, в назначенный срок буду я у тебя в следующем году, и будет у Сары сын». Сара же не призналась и сказала: «Я не смеялась», ибо она испугалась, но он сказал ей: «Нет, ты рассмеялась». И встали все мужи и оттуда отправились к Содому и Гоморре. Авраам же пошел с ними проводить их. Слава тебе, Господи, слава тебе.
Just one more thing that I wanted to add. In the Old Testament, there is a moment where the Absalom is escaping from his father because he is afraid. Thank you. Can you hear me now? As he is afraid of the righteous punishment, and it says that he was riding on a horse, and because he had curly hairs, he stuck in the branches of the oak tree, and he was hanging. And when you're thinking about European oak, you think, how it is possible? You know, if the oak is small, the branches are not going to be sufficient enough to hold him. And if oak is big, he's not that tall to get with his hair into the leaves. Well, the fact is that here in the Middle East, oaks are very small. This is probably one of the largest species, so to say. They're very small. They're probably something like this. Not larger than that. You know, they more look like a strong and big bushes. And obviously when you're ramming in the midst of those bushes, and if you have hair like Nancy or more, and especially if they're of red color, you're definitely going to get stuck. You're definitely going to get stuck. So believe what it teaches us. Well, first, not to transgress against our parents. Second, not to ride horses through the dense woods. And third, had a nicely haircut.
Yes,
so in case if we'll have to do the first two, we won't going to get stuck. Okay? Yalla? Chop chop.
Et don't let me go to the Jews here.
I think.
Okay. Yes,
I hope.
here.
I thought so.
Oh, is that what he wanted? wanted to live down here.
Well, he has to open the door for us.
Yes.
Yeah. You got the key and everything. You know?
It's one of the sons of this Anwar.
And actually, you have to have one admiration because he has a responsibility. That's the older one, I guess.
So, ככה אנחנו לא נלך למכפלה בכלל, נחזור למקלך, So, what are we doing now? According to our plans, we should go now to Machpelah and see the Herod's building built on the burial place of Abraham and his family. And we should go there. But finally, we are not going to do it, unfortunately, for different reasons. First of all, it's coming dark, but it's not so important. The second one, and that is a real reason, that as our driver told us on the way here, the entrance to the place was locked, and from the Muslim side and from the Jewish side, because of a recent arrest that is there. So it's impossible to enter the place. When there are any problems and conflicts between two communities, Muslim and Jewish, so they close Machpelah because everybody is afraid of different provocations. So it's impossible to visit it. That's why we have seen now how did these ancient caves look like, but will not visit that very place and will not see the Herod's building. I should say that it looks like more or less as the Western Wall in Jerusalem. So the walls of Herod built over the Temple Mountain. So now we are on our way back. And as Father got told, we are going through Bethlehem. And so those of you who wish will have possibility to buy some souvenirs like this. Will not waste a lot of time for this. And so we'll see. If you wish, you can buy something. And after we go directly to the hotel and to dinner. So the way from here to Jerusalem is about 1 hour, but through Bethlehem, through the souvenir shop, will be a bit more. So, and soon it will become dark already. So I hope we'll leave Hebron before it will be dark.
خليه واقف بس المهم وداها صابرين عليه ولا وين انت حاسس انا واقف هو مش قادر عليه جوه
section. But colors as polyester of different colors.
Different colors. Yeah.
So the
I
same
know they're not solid colors.
Yes.
طالع كمان ريح خلص انا خليه يخلص لا انا رايح افكر
هي دخلوا بولي בכלל לא